I, Stanley Jakowski, understand that U.S. Code 28, Section 1654, appearance personally or by counsel, reads as follows. In all courts of the United States, the parties may plead or conduct their own cases personally or by counsel as, by the rules of such court, respectfully, are permitted to manage and conduct cases therein.
So under this law, we're going to challenge this because he's going to be making an appearance at all times and conduct his own case personally.
Yes, I am.
And the Florida Bar has already agreed that this is not the practice of law because they've stated that what we see in the video I'm going to bring up next is, they call this ex parte communications. And under floridacourts.gov, that's communication between a court and opposing counsel when neither notice nor an opportunity to respond is prohibited. That has nothing to do with this. That we're challenging this on freedom of speech. We've decided to add this explaining video to our complaint. We both have dyslexia and we both have issues of communication sometimes. So we talked about this and said this is the best route to go, and since this is federal court, we're better to challenge disability and our rights. So we're going to begin with the appearance personally. Here's his appearance, and we're going to see this in this video. We're going to compare this to this video right here. And it's called Follow That Dream. It was filmed in Florida. And we're going to go ahead and start that.
Mr. Klimper, are you represented by counsel? Mr. Klimper, are you represented by counsel?
Come again, Judge? Have you got a lawyer?
No, sir.
Don't believe me. Never did.
Don't you indeed?
No, sir.
Well, shoot yourself.
Thank you, Judge.
Now then, since this is a hearing and not a trial, let's keep it simple and informal. Miss Claypool, would you start us off?
Thank you. Your Honor, the Department of Public Welfare is charged with responsibility of ministering to the well-being of all its citizens, particularly those of its children. The cases of these 3 children have caused the department deep concern. Why, the twins live in a home that's hardly more than a breeding ground for delinquency and crime. The Quimper adults are immoral, defiant of authority, and strongly suspected of illicitly obtaining funds from government agencies. And they are also known to have associated closely with gangsters. I shall document each of these charges when the time comes. As part of our proof that the Quimpers are unfit to raise children, I shall ask Mr. King to report on his dealings with the Quimper family.
By taking advantage of a technicality, Your Honor, these people set their own interests above those of 6 million taxpayers. When I try to persuade the Quimpers to abandon their anti-social point of view, I receive nothing but abuse. In the course of which, the elder Quimper boasted that he habitually received relief funds as well as aid to dependent children. I later learned that Toby Quimper served in the Army. where he tricked the doctors into awarding him a total disability allowance. I use the word tricked advisedly. I can prove that he suffers from no physical disqualifications at all.
Anything more?
Quite a lot, Your Honor. The department should like to point out that the Quimpers have no legal status as guardians for these children. Moreover, the Quimpers encouraged 2 notorious gangsters to set up a gambling establishment in their neighborhood. Subsequently, the Quimpers quarreled with the gangsters, burned down their establishment, and finally drove them out at gunpoint.
Yes, I heard something about that. Frightening.
Terrible. So is the fact that an unmarried girl by the name of Holly Jones lives with the Quimpers in a relationship that I would not care to explore.
Goodness. What a terrible thing to say.
Be quiet. You'll have an opportunity to answer the charges.
One final point, Your Honor. As a qualified psychologist, I gave Toby Quimper a word association test, which is designed to reveal basic motivations. It was during the process of giving this test that I was attacked and knocked down by Miss Jones.
And you people claim that you don't need a lawyer, What did the test reveal?
Attitudes that were shocking to the entire welfare department. I submit a copy to the court.
Well, what have you to say about all this?
Judge, would you mind if we hash this over by ourselves for a little while?
Hash it over, by all means.
Thank you, Judge.
You know what I think, Pop? I think we don't look so good.
It's unfair. She's twisted every single fact.
Well, somebody's gonna untwist it.
Good for you, Pop.
Not me, I'll get mad and that won't do any good. You take care of the two of us.
Me? I ain't very good at talking.
We won't be no worse off than we are now.
Please, Toby.
Go ahead, son. Go ahead.
I don't know, Pop.
Please, son.
I'll probably make a mess of things, Judge, but Pop and Holly here, they got faith in me, so here goes.
You may still hire a lawyer.
Pop's already said no to that. Pop's usually right about everything he says. First off, maybe I was wrong when I wanted to throw Mr. King off the property.
Very gracious of you.
Yes, sir. There's no need for me to get ornery just because Mr. King got a little nasty.
And just what nasty thing did Mr. King do?
Well, he tried to throw us off a property that he had no say-so about. Got our backs up and everything. Judge, would it be legal like if I were to answer some of the things that were said against me personal?
You may choose the order of your rebuttal.
That means it's all right.
Yes.
Well, about my back. Now, they told me at Fort Dix that I strained my back after my first judo lesson. I told the docs it straightened out after the next lesson and it wasn't nothing to begin with. But they said it was, and I had to go on total disability. Now, I'm willing to admit that a doctor might know just a little bit more than me, so I've been taking the checks ever since. But the way it's worked out, I might have done the wrong thing. And if I did, I'm awful sorry.
Are you defending yourself or making a confession?
I'm just trying to tell what happened. Is that all right?
Well, it's pretty unusual, but go on.
Judge, it don't do me no good to talk against people who ain't here to answer back. But all we done to Nick and Carmine was just return a package they left at our house. We didn't know there was a bomb in it. If we'd have known it, we'd have thrown it in the bay. And we didn't chase them off at gunpoint either. When their place blowed up, they just up and beat it.
If you can prove that, it takes care of an important point.
Oh, I can prove it, Judge, but it don't seem important to me.
It doesn't, eh? Why not?
Well, if I was judge in charge of deciding who was to bring up 3 nice kids, I'd just be wondering if Pop was a good man and if Holly was a good woman. You can ask the twins about Holly. I mean, they're just kids, but kids know who they love, who taught them everything they know and made them like it. Dog me, Holly's just a kid, too, but they don't come no better. And smart, too. If it weren't for her, we'd really be on relief right now or starving to death.
I've already pointed out why he'd be prejudiced on that point, Your Honor.
I reckon I'm prejudiced on a lot of points you ain't, ma'am. First of all, I'm prejudiced against twisting the truth around. And I'm prejudiced against hurting kids. Particularly hurting them just because I'm sore at their folks.
Judge, can I say something? Go ahead. I don't like to say this, Judge. I don't like to talk against a woman's good name. But for the sake of the kids, though, I gotta do it.
Well, you certainly have me interested.
Hell ain't got no fury like a woman scorned.
Yes?
That's all, Judge.
Well, Mr. Quimper, your observation may or may not be accurate. I couldn't say which myself, but I would like to know why you said it.
I said it because it's true, Judge. That Miss Claypool there, she went after Toby like he come with green coupons. She was leaning on him, she was tickling him, she was kissing him, and when he paid her no never mind, she set out to give us what hell ain't got no fury like.
Your Honor, I shall not dignify that falsehood with a denial. I should simply like to point out that it is not I who am on trial here.
No one is on trial here, Miss Claypool. This is a hearing. Now, do you support what your father just said?
I'd rather not answer that, sir.
Very well. Briefly, then. Did Miss Claypool ever kiss you?
Yes, sir.
Really? What do you expect them to say? Or they'll clutch at any straw.
Please be seated, Miss Claypool, and we'll have no further interruptions. Continue.
I was talking about Pop, and it might help you to know the kind of man he is. Pop don't like to be talked about, and I most generally try to do what he likes. I can't help myself this time, though. My Pop's an ornery man, Judge. That's because he's so smart. He can't stand it when people act stupid. I ain't so bright myself, and it's a wonder to me that we get along as well as we do. Many times I was reminded to go against him. I thought maybe there was more to living than just enjoying it the way Pop taught me. But I was never dumb enough to go against him, Judge. And it usually turned out I was glad I didn't. Now, it's a fact that Ariadne and the twins and Holly ain't no kin to Pop. Now, don't that make you stop and think, Judge? You name me another man that'd take in 3 hungry children just because they ain't got no place to go and no one to turn to. Pop ain't got no money. He ain't never had. Why did he take in 3 strange kids? I'll tell you why, Judge. It's because he's a good man. He's always been good to me, and he's always been good to them. He always will be, too. Now, that's all that matters here today. And if you don't know that, Judge, you ain't no judge.
Your Honor. Your Honor. May I remind you of my findings in this man's word association test? He may mean well consciously, but his subconscious motivations are all that really matter.
Well, have you anything to say about that test?
Yes, sir. Can I say it in private?
Very well.
Thank you.
Counsel for the defense points out, and very correctly, that his test has nothing to do with the case. It is his father who is the children's presumptive guardian.
Well, let his father take the test. I have one right here.
That was counsel's suggestion. Yes? That's a good idea. Mr. Quimper, please.
Do you get him light in the head?
Mr. Quimper, do you understand the word association test?
The test that Toby took?
That's right, yes. Would you sit down there, please? Very well. We may proceed.
Ready?
Yep.
Court. Child.
We're good.
Moon. Election. House. Those will be sufficient, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Quimper.
You're welcome, Judge.
Can you analyze these answers now?
I believe so.
Very well, we'll proceed. Court, crime.
Well, that's a simple-minded response of a criminal nature. A court is where you go when you've committed a crime.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Never mind. Child labor.
Well, that's obvious. He thinks of children in terms of exploiting their labor.
Oh, now, really, I think that
Your
is...
Honor, I have a master's degree in psychology.
Moonshine.
Well, that's an illegal liquor drunk by illiterate, irresponsible alcoholics.
What about Shine on Harvest Moon? That's a song. What's that got to do with alcoholics?
I don't understand you.
That's enough. Your request for a court order is denied.
Your Honor, I don't think you understand any qualified...
Miss Claypool, you're the one who doesn't understand this test. Those answers were not Mr. Quimper's. They were mine. That was counsel's suggestion. And you, Mr. Quimper, were right about not needing a lawyer. You couldn't have had a better one. Well, this court has had a remarkable experience today. It's had the rare privilege of listening to an honest man. And it's had a further privilege. It has heard the history of a little settlement, a little colony that overcame hardships, fought back men of evil purpose, and survived all kinds of legalistic and financial difficulties. It's gratifying to know that the spirit of the pioneer, the spirit that made this the greatest country in the world, ladies and gentlemen, it's thrilling to know that this spirit is still functioning today. Our government needs it more than ever, don't you think?
I agree, Judge. I'm willing to admit that I've been letting the government down a little lately. I haven't been taking any relief or unemployment insurance, but I'm willing to let bygones be bygones. We'll get together sometime.
Yes. Case dismissed.
By all means. Thank you, Judge. You know what I think?
This would be considered practice of law in Florida, and we want to challenge this. This is what our original complaint meant when it said Stanley Chakowski had to sit by himself in court. He could even get a basic, hey, can you look this up for me? Under Rule 10/1.2 and Rule 10/2.2. All right, we're going to cut.
I think we don't look so good.
This part here we want to challenge on First Amendment speech. That he can be able to ask for assistance. He can conduct his case in a way that Florida law and federal law say. All right, so on the federal side, we're going to go with 28 U.S. Code, appearance personally. So he's appearing personally, and then just like his father is here, he's always making appearance during the court case. We're going to say this is freedom of speech communications, which currently the bar restricts. In state law 454.18, it says, and any person, whether an attorney or not, or within the exceptions mentioned above or not, may conduct his or her own case in any court of the state or before any public board, committee, or officer, subject to the lawful rules and discipline of such court, board, committee, or officer. Nowhere in the state law does it say he can't have this conversation, but the Florida bar and the following rules prevents you from having freedom of speech that led to the events that happened in the courtroom.
Would you mind if we hash this over by ourselves for a little while?
Hash it over, by all means.
So even the part that they hash it over would be considered practice of law under the current rules that we're challenging.
Thank you, Judge.
Because they're gonna talk, and you're not allowed to talk about that kind of stuff under.
It's unfair. She's
It's
twisted
on
every
our
single
proposed
fact.
amendment.
Somebody's gonna untwist us. Good for you, Pop. I mean, I'll get mad and that doesn't do any good. You take care of the truth. Hey.
See, now under Florida law that he's gonna conduct his own case.
We're worse off than we are now.
Please, Toby.
Go ahead, son. Go ahead. I don't know, Pop. Please. Please.
I'll probably make a mess of things, Judge, but Pop and Holly here, they got faith in me, so here goes.
You may still hire a lawyer.
Pop's already
He
said no.
tells him
but
his
Pop's
rules
usually right about everything he said.
to the father.
First off, maybe I was wrong when I wanted to throw Mr. King off the property.
Very gracious of you.
Yes, sir. There's no need for me to get ornery just because Mr. King got a little nasty.
And just what nasty thing did Mr. King do?
Now, because he's doing this for his father and not for profit, we're saying that his father is expressing himself through his son here and not representing because he's not accepting for money. So we're really clear on, because since we both have spelling issues, sometimes we write and spell things wrong. But a lot of thought has gone into this, and that's it, actually.